What's going on, everybody? This is Roberta Lea, and I'm going to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the bare naked truth.
State your name for the record.
Roberta Lea.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read you your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be posted and used against you. You can plead the fifth if you are scared of speaking the bare naked truth. Do you understand your rights?
I understand.
All right, let's go. So, it's to our understanding that you were once a high school Spanish teacher for 7 years. Describe what life was like for you at that point, and did you feel fulfilled with family and career choices at that point in life?
At the time, I truly enjoyed being a Spanish teacher. I didn't have a lot of pressure when it came to testing and all of the requirements for schools, and so I got to have a lot of fun with my students. And I definitely enjoyed being able to bring something different to the table. I would do escape rooms and a lot of theatrical things, the movies, the music. We had a lot of fun. But after a while, I did start to feel a lot of, just a lot of pressure from myself to really fulfill my dream when it came to doing music. And so it wasn't necessarily teaching. It wasn't necessarily the kids or the family or anything like that. I just knew that I had to take a leap of faith and follow my dreams because I had to know whether or not they could possibly come true.
Okay, understandable, understandable. So, understand for you in 2021, life changed. You sat down with your husband. You explained that you wanted to do music. My question is, why then, and how long have you had those aspirations?
So 2021 was not long after 2020. And we all know what
True.
was going on
Hmm.
in 2020. And a pandemic like that, I think, really puts life into perspective. And there's nothing like death all around you to remind you to live. And so I just had to have that conversation with myself and say, hey, take a risk, roll the dice, and let's see what happens. And so it was something I wanted for a really long time. I was definitely always involved in music, but eventually, once 2020 hit, COVID, the world, everything was crazy. And I said, you know what? I think it's time to just roll the dice, see what happens. I gave myself like 5 years. I was like, let's see what happens in 5 years. And if it's going good, cool. If not, then pivot again. So that's how we ended up making that decision in 2021.
Okay, and why country music and not like R&B or something like that?
I was really just kind of rolling with the feedback that I was getting from other people. They'd hear me perform at the open mics around town. Shout out to Venue on 35th, Cypher Tuesdays, um, um, No Covers with Jocelyn Best. I was going around town all over the place playing, and I would just get feedback from people, and they say, "Man, I love your sound, but you got like a country vibe to you." And I didn't really know what to do with that at first because I didn't see a lot of people like me in country music, to be honest. And so, but I just kind of took that feedback, and it wasn't until Color Me Country with Reese Palmer and the Black Opry with Holly G that I actually found communities that I could feel free to be myself as a country music artist and really like flourish there. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
What is the Black Opry, and why did you feel the need to get involved with that?
So I didn't feel the need to get involved. They kind of just took me by the hand, dragged me along, and said, "You're country now, so deal with it."
Okay. Kicking and screaming.
That's
Got you.
pretty
Got
much
you.
how that happened. Holly G, I released. I think I put King Size on YouTube, and like I played it, and then I released a song called "Remarkable Lady," and people on social media on Twitter was like, "Oh snap! Roberta just released her first country song," and I was like, "I did," and they said, "Yes, you did," and so that was kind of just. That's how it happened. Just happenstance. I was on Twitter because I was bored with the other social
Okay.
media platforms um,
Understandable.
during COVID. So that's how all that unfolded.
Okay. So research team, we did scan your social media,
Hmm.
and we saw that you were the next woman of country for 2023.
Yeah.
How did you become that woman? And well, let's go there. How did you become that woman?
Well, I was touring with the Black Opry. We were making a lot of noise. And so I released a project in 2021. It was called Just a Taste. And so as an independent artist, I'm trying to learn how to operate as a business. and to ride waves. When there's a lot of noise, when there's a lot of eyes and ears on anything that you're involved in, ride that wave um, and and get that momentum going. And so there was a lot of momentum going around what we were doing and touring. And Leslie Fram, who is a part of CNT, she was catching eyes and ears on what we were doing, what the Black Opera was doing. She was very supportive of the Black Opera. And so based off of the momentum that I was building, she emailed me and she said, I see what you're doing and we want to support you. So we want you to be a part of our class.
Okay, sweet, sweet. And can you also explain being a member of the Recording Academy for the Grammys?
Um, that, that was pretty awesome. Got to do, just a interview. You kind of got to fill out the application, and you have other people who are a part of the Recording Academy to send a recommendation on your behalf. And it felt like the next best step is like everything was kind of moving steadily up and up and up. So it was like doing my thing around town and open mics, and then next thing you know, Color Me Country gives me a grant. I record a short EP project. Next thing you know, Black Opry takes me in. We go on tour, and then next thing you know, CMT spots me, picks me up, and then the Recording Academy. So it seems like there was just a really great progression, nice, steady progression.
Definitely, definitely. Now just off the cuff here, are you responsible for any of the votes that go in who receives Grammys?
Yes, but that is complicated.
Okay.
Because
we had a few questions about that, but
yeah,
we're gonna
when it
let you
comes to
slide
that,
today with that one.
yeah.
I'm gonna let you slide with that one.
Yes.
All right, and so from what I've seen also, especially dealing with country, there's been many people who expressed a level of racism in that world. Have you experienced any? And was that a concern for you and your family when you first got into that genre?
Mm. I would say, when I was doing open mics and people would say, "Oh, you sound country," I did my shot at going to country-oriented open mics. And there was one particular time I went to one, and I was the only black woman signed up. It was two older white men that were performing, and so I sign up. I give the DJ my track because I didn't have my guitar at the time, so I give him my track. And I get up there to perform, and there's some folks in the back. They're a little on the drunk side, and they're kind of doing, very mockingly, yo yo, stuff like that. Wow. While I was performing. And so that's what made. That's why when people told me that I was country, I didn't know what to do with that. With that particular experience. And then there's a lot of times where people will review my music, or different things will be going on. I'm never like country enough. Like I have too much of a influence of whether it be R&B or pop. And I'm a product of my generation. Like who sticks solely to one particular genre like that is just kind of just the natural process of recording music. You're gonna have a little bit more soul in this one, a little bit more country in that one, a little bit more folk. And so that is still like it could be a thing. It can, but once I had community like Black Operated, that wasn't much of a concern with me anymore, because I'm like I have a space that accepts exactly who I am.
Cool. And so, Super Bowl time?
Yeah.
Queen Bee
Queen
makes her announcement that she's going into the country music realm.
Right.
You definitely took to your socials and expressed happiness about this.
Yes.
Do you feel that move will help more other black country artists get discovered?
Oh yeah, it already has.
Okay.
It already has.
Please tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was performing with the Black Opry, there wasn't so much of an issue of finding people who would come and support us, but it would mainly be the white community, because the white community has mainly liked country music this whole time. So we'd go sell out somewhere, but it was mostly white folks. And so one of the challenges was trying to reach the black community and convincing them to like country music too, right? And so, but there's such a culture associated with country music, especially when for a good while, especially in the 90s, right, you see the Confederate flag was a prominent prop or a piece up in country music. So black folks will see that and be like, no,
Yeah, that ain't for me.
bye, no thank
Yep.
you.
Can't
And
sit here.
yeah, nope, we don't want to, right?
Got
And
you.
so with that cultural association with country music, I feel like is a big reason as to why black people never felt, because there's plenty of great country songs.
Mm-hmm. It's
I Will
true.
Always Love You was a country song.
Yeah. But we know the Whitney version though.
We know the Whitney version. But that goes to show you that good music is good music.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
And
definitely.
it'll reach people. And so the final, one of the challenges is reaching the black community when it comes to bringing them along this journey with us. And so when
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce announces that she's doing a country album, that was quick, because the BnttvThe was like, bet we're on it. There was no question about it. And now you see people having dialogue. You see people learning about the history of black influence in country music. And then you have even a lot of artists, a lot of independent artists that seeing an increase of streams in they see an increase of streams in their music just online. So it kind of goes to show you that she kind of has that effect when it comes to that.
Definitely. Apologize about that. Phone's off one set. Okay, so my next question for you is: do you feel that there should be more opportunities available for indie country artists to get the recognition in your immediate locale? And I want you to name 4 other artists in the area that we should be familiar with.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as far as locale is concerned, there's a lot of work just to get support for artists across the board, not just country artists, but artists
Okay.
across the board could use a lot of infrastructure, get a lot of those business practices in place, so that way we be able to flourish a little bit more locally. And there are a lot of venues and people and a lot of spaces that are really trying to develop um, a, a vibe in which artists can really come up in this space. I think it's just a matter of like teamwork and getting things together. As far as other artists in the area that everyone should know about, Celeste Kellogg, she's been doing her thing around town for a really long time, and she's an amazing country artist. She's giving Shania Twain vibes, and so she's constantly around town. I see her doing all sorts of festivals and down at the beach, the ocean front where they have their thing going on. So she's always um, doing her thing. Let's see. Country artists specifically?
Or some
Any
kind of
artists? I
some
would
kind of
say,
mix. But definitely, I'm
okay,
just
so
saying
that's a
your
country
genre.
artist.
Let's go
That's
on your
another
genre.
country
Yeah.
artist in the area.
Okay.
And there are a couple more. I can't think of them. They're on the tip of my tongue. But some of my favorite artists in the area is Norva Rain, Octavia the Great, Shaolin.
Okay. Shout to Shaolin and all that.
Emily
Yeah.
Frazier was here not too long ago. Jared Farrell. I did some collaborative works with him. Um, Calvin Mirage is an up and coming producer who is like ridiculous. Like, if don't reach for Pharrell, like get to know Calvin Mirage, because he's on the
Okay.
come up. Marv P is another awesome hip hop artist in the area. And so yeah, there's just a couple of us that are out here doing our thing, and yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Sweet. And just off the rip, something that just came to my mind. Why do you think that so many of us, as Black people, have shied away from country music?
I feel like country music. So all popular American music is black music.
Hmm.
It,
Agree.
we are responsible for the creation of all that music, and that includes country. But country music seemed to have been white supremacy's last grab of culture,
Hmm.
because right, jazz, black people, rock and roll, black people,
Hmm.
R&B, right, and so with the Confederate flag thing, it seems as though there was like a last attempt to hold on to something just for themselves. And so, I mean, it just happened just last year where there was a black woman. She was a reporter. She was just going to a country music festival. She's there to report,
Hmm.
right? News there to say, hey, this is what's going on right now. Get your tickets. She's there at the country music festival, and she's getting harassed by a white man calling her all sorts of names. And uh, no one comes to her defense. No one checks him, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so she's just trying to do her job. And there's still this spirit of you don't belong here. Now, you go to a hip hop spot, yeah, it might be a little rowdy. There might be some disagreements here and there, blah, blah, blah. But there's nobody rolling up talking about something you don't belong here. You know what I mean?
Definitely,
There's no conversation
I
like
can
that. Ain't
agree to
nobody,
that.
nobody's doing that.
I
You
went to a
know,
Wu-Tang concert and I seen the guy that looked like he was my dad's age, a white man, and he was just
hanging
enjoying
out,
himself, and I'm like,
enjoying
wow.
himself.
And nobody bothered him, so
Nobody bothering you, right?
hmm
And so, especially when you look at hip hop, is extremely young in comparison to country music. Country
hmm
music is 100 years old. Hip hop is just popping off in the 80s, and you have more inclusivity and more white hip hop artists on major record labels than you do black country artists with country
Okay.
major labels,
We
right? And
definitely hoping to
so,
change that. Yep.
when you look at how um, exclusive it is. That is the reason why black people, I think, are just like, well, I'm not even gonna bother rocking with it. And not only that, but as a country music artist myself, I'm very intentional about including our stories in country music, and I feel like that's
Mm.
another reason why black people haven't gravitated to country music yet. We don't hear us, we don't hear our terms in country music.
Okay.
When you hear constant phrases like blonde hair, blue eye, redneck, right,
hmm
truck, bar, breakup, when you hear those constant themes, that doesn't include
Yeah.
black people,
Feels
right?
like we left out of it.
When you're like, oh, I went to the beach and I got a sunburn and a sunburn. I don't know what you're talking about, right? And so I'm very intentional about including um, cultural content, phrases, things of that nature in my songs, to where it's like that is my experience. This is, I learned this phrase over Cambodia. They call it same different, same but different, right? And so when you have them say, there's a song by Reba McEntire, Fancy. It's like, I may have grown up poor white trash, but Fancy's my name, right? You have white trash and trailer, that is
hmm
that's their phrasing for the struggle, right?
Yeah. That's
But
their
we
ghetto.
have a phrase. We don't use that, but we
Yeah.
we have our own phrase. We call it the ghetto. Growing up in the
hmm
hood, that's
Definitely.
our struggle. So when those things are absent in music, that is the reason why it's easy to, people don't see themselves. And it's not necessarily that's your three chords, that's your truth, and that's a great song. That can be a great song. But there's also our truths. And so I plant stuff like Nina Simone, Dinner Sunset Nina Simone,
Mm.
and I let my friend listen to it before I released the record. And at the end, there every single tagline has a leads up to Dinner Sunset Nina Simone. So turn off the TV and put down the phone. It's time for Dinner Sunset Nina Simone, right? You don't have to carry these burdens alone. Let's talk over Dinner Sunset Nina Simone. So at the end of the song, it said, uh, we on that Dinner Sunset Nina Simone. That's the way
Mm.
I end the song.
Okay.
We on that dinner sunset and Nina Simone. So my friend's listening to it,
So you're
and
showing
she's
off a little
like,
bit. I see you. Okay.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my friend listens to it. She's like, I really love the fact, because she's from Philly. She's like, I really love the fact that you say we on that. Like, there's no explanation as to what that even means,
hmm
but we know what that means.
Yeah.
We
Feel
own that.
included now.
Yeah.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very intentional. And sometimes I don't think I really thought about that, honestly.
hmm
That's just the way I talk. We own that. Like
Okay.
that's just the way I talk. But including those things in country music is what's going to give the black community a chance to see themselves in that space and embrace it.
Sweet. And so
Hmm.
now that you know that, do you do that intentionally now?
It's either intentionally or not intentionally.
Okay.
So, for example, Ghetto Country Streets was intentional, right?
Okay.
We were outside. My kids were playing in my old neighborhood, and I just remember like growing up, and we didn't have a lot, So I Ghetto Country, and I was like, we don't have a song like that, so I wrote Ghetto
Mm.
Country Streets. Dinner
Sweet.
Sunset Nina
Sweet.
Simone was an inspiration, and we own that. Like phrases like that, I didn't really think about.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this my last question for you here. So you have accomplished many things via awards. I'm gonna just run down your accomplishments on
Okay.
this in this question also. Via awards. Number 9 on the Wide Open Country Best of 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. The interview on WHRO.
Yep.
hmm Hmm. Yeah, we did research though.
Okay.
All right, too
I'm
much of
proud
a
of y'all
woman
for that.
podcast.
Yes.
Okay. Currently on tour,
Yep.
and also congrats on the cruise placement for 2025.
Thank you.
Just to name a few
Let's
things.
name a few.
You know what I mean, and especially your your fast rides and everything like that. What's next for you?
That is a great question. I would say that right now, I feel like I'm in the cultivating stage
Hmm.
where I'm taking all the pieces, all the things that I learned over the last couple years, and really putting them into practice. It's like,
Okay.
okay, this is what this looks like. This is what it is when I have to go on tour. These are the average costs. Now it's really about like really tightening up the business screws on
Okay.
that case. Because before it was kind of like just throw something to the wind. You're like, I'm just gonna dive in. I'm gonna have some fun. Let me see what happens, and kind of just figure it out as I go along. Cross my
Okay.
fingers, hope everything works out. And now that things are working, and now we're just being intentional on creating a system around the things that are working. So it seems like, and I know most people will look at my schedule and see and think that it's pretty busy. In comparison to the last 2 years, it's slowed down a little bit, actually. You
Oh, so
know,
you mean that this is a slow year? That's you
there's a
telling me
little
this is
bit
slow?
there's a
Okay.
little bit more breathing room when it comes to
Got you.
between
Got you.
one show and another. Is I would say when it comes to traveling,
Okay.
right now I'm kind of local and doing things locally and kind of um, establishing that, and there's a little bit more space in between, and so because of that, I have a little bit more opportunity to really like kind of hone in on what the business actually looks like
Okay.
in doing that. So um, my hope next year maybe go on tour with a bigger artist and open up for them. I had the chance to open up for Chapel Hart where they were here in town. Um, and so that I feel like that would be the most logical step for 2025 is if I
Hmm.
get on a tour with someone.
Yeah,
But
well, I
right
think you
now,
should open up for the Queen Bee when she do her country tour. I
hey,
mean,
you
you know,
never know. You never know.
I'm
I'm here
just
for
saying,
it.
we can put it in the air.
We could put it in the
All
air.
right, you know what I'm saying?
You
Something like
know,
that.
I
We
heard
own
she
that.
was
We
Pete.
own
I
that.
heard, you
You
never
know.
know. You
And
never know.
I do. Sorry, I did say we have one more question. So I do wonder, with all that you have going on, also, how do you manage like your personal life with being a mom, being a wife? How do you separate that from the business side?
I think I have quite an advantage because we have a very easygoing home and energy when it comes to my husband and I and our kids. Like
Hmm.
they're very well behaved. They're smart. No issues at school. They just bust them A's out like it's nothing. They're like,
Congrats to
I
that.
got
Congrats to
I
that.
got on a roll again. Like it's
Yeah.
just very. And then my husband, he's in mental health, and so he's got his thing going on. He's going back to school. I get to sit front and center and watch him pursue his dreams, and we energize each other.
Okay.
So as I mentioned to y'all earlier, like he's my manager, so he helps me with because that was a set of his skills before, where he
Hmm.
helps me to book flights and get all of that stuff together.
Make
But
sure you're on time, right?
yeah. But he's
Got you.
in school right now. I used to be a teacher, so he's like, man, I haven't written papers in years. I'm like, I got you, babe. You know what I mean? And I'm
Hmm.
help. So we read books together. There's just this energy that we really support one another when it comes to our dreams. And so when most people have a home life that's a little more chaotic, that's very draining. And that
Hmm.
you would feel like you have to balance it now because you got to get on the road, you got to do this, but then over here, there's a fire you got to put out on that side. There's a flood you got to clean up because the kid's having a meltdown or whatever the case is.
Hmm.
For me, that's not my experience. You know what I mean? It's very. I look forward to being at home because we're probably laughing more than we cry or are upset about anything.
All right. So definitely want to give you congratulations on everything you've accomplished thus far in your career. The things you're going to accomplish. I definitely see you being a star in the future. We're gonna put that in the air. But before we get out of here, real quick, I want you to let the people know where they can find you at, how they can reach you, book you for shows, anything you want to tell them. The floor is yours.
I got you. Okay, well, you can find me at www.iamrobertalee. That is spelled Lea because if you spell it with an E, that's not me. Shout out to my friend Tyler. And you can find me, I am Roberta Lee, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I stayed very consistent. So that's where you can find me on social media and online. If you go to my website, you can sign up for the email list. I do not spam. I just let you know what's going on. And so that's how you can find me and support me. And is that everything? Did I do all of that?
The floor is yours. I
Okay,
believe you did
yeah.
it all.
Just yeah, I would suggest signing up for my email list. That way you can stay tuned on anything and everything that I got going on. So that is about it.
Alrighty. Well, once again, much congratulations on your success. We appreciate you for spending the time with us. Roberta Lea, y'all.
Appreciate it.